Process. Here comes Rubalcaba. Rubalcaba dribbling to the center. Rubalcaba! Haley dribbles her way through the player. Now serves across towards the far post. Arriving Cailin! Goal! Manoliliua at the edge of the 18. Touches it onto her right. Fires! What a save by Katie McLaughlin!
Hey, will anyone get there for DVC? It's Yasmin firing! Turns, Plancarte! What a save by Megan Elms!
Tied by the last defender. Valentine comes out. Noel drills the keeper. Levis! And that is a DVC victory! Welcome, faithful followers of the Green and White. I'm Joe Hickey, the radio voice of DVC Athletics, and this is Vikings Soccer Rewind, a little trip down memory lane to help us pass a long fall season without DVC sports. Last week we got our first look at the 2015 Vikings, as they got into the goal scoring for the first time all season after a monstrously frustrating opening day game at Lake Tahoe. But they couldn't hold the lead for any longer than 2 minutes and finished with a draw. Today we rewatched their very next game on the road in Fremont at Ohlone College. Now, DVC and Ohlone, as you're going to hear in the radio call, had a string of super tense games against each other between 2013 and 2015. In 2013, DVC earned a 2-2 draw on a stoppage time Cat Gentry equalizer, in what was actually my first Vikings game ever attended. The year after that, a back-and-forth game ended 2-1 on an Ohlone game winner that hit the crossbar and bounced barely over the goal line, moments after DVC's Brie Gonzalez struck the crossbar from the top of the box. Without spoiling anything, this game will be a fitting end to that trilogy, and it has a major twist at the end. I won't keep you waiting for any of that any longer. We're heading to Takfudena Stadium at Washington High School, temporary home of the Ohlone Renegades, for our last pre-conference game. I'll see you at halftime with a trio of DVC alums, but until then, enjoy the game. You're watching Vikings Soccer Rewind. We've got formations for you, so very quickly for DVC, it's exactly the same formation that we saw last time around. It will be Sammi Hebing starting in goal. Her defensive line in front of her, Andrea Weinstein, Dom Calloway, Caitlin Cunningham, and Dejiana Dargan from right to left across the defense. Midfield consisting of Hannah Mazleski and Yasmin Jaime in the middle. On the left side, Daisy Lozano, and on the right side, Megan Kappa. Julia Curran and Haley Seguir, again, pair up top. As for Ohlone College, Cristal Villalvaso, the freshman, will be in goal, the number 1. The defense of Coach Larry Heslin's 4-4-2 appears to consist of the number 2, Isabel Blancas, the 13, Alexandra Jacobs, the 17, Sydney Flanagan, and the 18, Alexis Escalante. Midfield consisting of Izzy Castaño, the number 9, Melissa Llorena, the number 10, Esmeralda Rojas, the number 11, and Stephanie Bañuelos, the number 22, with Analicia Flores, the scorer of the first Ohlone goal roughly a year ago when these two teams met in Pleasant Hill, the number 5, and Haley Garvey, the number 14, playing up top. A couple new additions to DVC's bench, which we'll recap a little bit later. Hopefully available in the near future. Jackie Chavez, newly eligible, number 23, We'll hopefully see her out there before too long. And then additionally, Hannah Harris for the first time today, wearing the number 10, eligible to participate in today's game. Hungry Hannah, hoping for a chance to exact some of, take out some of that frustration that she had after the game against Lake Tahoe. Teams are ready to go. Ohlone will be attacking from the left to the right. They will start with the ball at midfield. It is Melissa Llorena with one of her teammates, not entirely sure who, can't quite spot her at the moment. But they are just about ready to go. It is the center referee standing with them who blows the opening whistle, and we are underway here in Fremont. Ohlone, as we said, attacking here after the opening whistle. Look out here. Ball over the top immediately for the run of the number 14. That is Haley Garvey, but out comes Sammi Hebing in the red over black goalkeeper kit for DVC. Vikings in the all-white road kit. Green numbers on the back, very similar to the numbers, in fact, of the New England Patriots, if you're looking to create that mental picture completely. Ball is back in possession of DVC after Hebing's goal kick. Weinstein able to play it off of a defender and earns DVC a free kick at midfield, far sideline. That is the right side of the Vikings attack, as they would see it. So stepping up to take that after she retrieves it over by the track is Andrea Weinstein. James Mays, the center official, had that opening whistle over at the far sideline. That was Tom Novello. signaling the Viking throw-in. Linda Thompson over here on the near sideline. We'll talk a little bit more about her, as she was very much a story last time these two teams met. Ball comes loose after the throw-in. Hannah Mazleski not quite able to get back onto it. Ball deep, looking for the run of Flores. Cut off, though, no problem by Dej Dargan. Laid back to Sammi Hebing. Sammi looking to go over to the right side, takes one big hop and goes out of play. Ends up splitting Weinstein and Kappa over there on the right. Now, the field here has football markings on it in white. The soccer markings are, in fact, in yellow, and it appears to be a pretty narrow field. I can't imagine this being any more than about 60 yards in width. It is, on the other hand, a very long field. It's 120 yards side to side, but we've maybe already seen some of that narrowness come into play as the Vikings are struggling just to keep goal kicks, for instance, in play. Yasmin Jaime on the ball, threads it forward for Julia Curran, touched away by Ohlone, dancing on the far sideline, but does finally go out for a Viking throw. Weinstein down the line, and it takes a touch from the number 18. That is Escalante over there. A transfer from CSU Northridge gives up the Viking throw. There's a long throw from Weinstein in the direction of the Vikings attack. Kappa trying to get on the ball, popped up by the defense. Header by Kappa, punched away by Haley Sagir, comes free in the direction of Yazzie, and looks like a foul has been given by our center referee, Mr. Mays, against DVC. First of those we've seen today. So 1-0 the count on fouls. Yet to see a shot placed on either frame, but the day is quite young, just halfway through minute number 3. Villalvaso, the long ball, knocked up in the air with the head of Yasmin Jaime, controlled, though, for a moment by Castaño over on the left side of the Ohlone attack, midfield. DVC able to get onto that, though. Hebing sprays it out to the left now for Dargan here on this near sideline. Dargan trying to split two defenders for Mazleski. Nice one-touch pass for Daisy Lozano. She tries to go down the left sideline for the speed of Haley Sagir. Knocked away, however, by the number 13, Alexandra Jacobs. Throw in for the Vikings from the near sideline. Comes towards Julia. Glancing header, not quite able to settle. Ball laid back towards Jacobs. In possession here. Oh, no. Ball stamped off of Haley Sagir. Almost came loose for the Vikings. Chased down, though, by the number 17, Sydney Flanagan, playing in the center of Ohlone's defense. Urena trying to get onto the ball here in front of Yasmin Jaime. Finally manages to knock it into space. Now she receives it again from her teammate Castaño. She's got Garvey running alongside. Here's the ball forward for Analicia Flores. It's going to run too long on the artificial surface, and Sammi Hebing comes out to claim it. So as we said, the Vikings in the all-white road kit. Ohlone in a forest green kit that fades to gold as it goes down the chest. Look out here. Daisy Lozano has intercepted a ball, tries to thread it through for Haley Sagir. Haley gets one touch to it and plays it down the left flank for herself to run onto. It's touched away by the defense. A throw-in coming from deep in Ohlone territory here. And Dargan comes up to take that. So it appears to be Urena in the center. Castaño seems to be on this near sideline, and perhaps on the far sideline, left side of Ohlone attack. Perhaps Bañuelos on the near sideline as DVC earns themselves another throw. The defense appears to have Jacobs, I believe, at this near sideline as the right back, and Flanagan and Escalante in the middle, I think. Here's the ball in. Curran gets onto the ball here. Oh, a little bit of a shove, nothing given. She tries to touch it through a defender, took a deflection and nearly came free to the captain, Kappa. Nothing doing, though. Kappa putting pressure, though, on Castaño as she tries to work it down the left side. We'll see who got the last touch. It apparently was DVC's number 2. It'll be a throw-in to Ohlone, but saw a very strong shoulder-to-shoulder challenge between Curran and one of the center defenders for Ohlone. Here comes the throw-in. I believe that's Escalante, so she seems to be the left back with Flanagan and Blancas pairing in the center. Ball recovered here by Cailin Cunningham in the center of the defense. Goes out wide to the right for Dre Weinstein. Nice triangle here to try to work it centrally for Yasmin Jaime. Nothing doing, and Ohlone try to get onto the counterattack. Ball chested down by Flores. Laid back to Urena in the middle of the center circle. Leaves it for Jacobs. She tries to dance around one player, but Hannah Mazleski, the opposing number 13, able to clean up the mess. Dej forward for Sagir. Thought about the return ball. Now it's Haley, near sideline at the 50-yard line, working her way through a few defenders. Tries to push it forward for Julia. The back line of the defense resists. Mazleski holds after the chest down by Cailin Cunningham. Leaves it on the left here for Daisy. Manages to keep it in play, but nobody there really to pick up on it for DVC. Esmeralda Rojas working her way now forward. Leaves it for Urena. Tries to find the overlap on the right side of the number 14, Haley Garvey. Here's a ball in for Garvey. Garvey touches it through the arrival of Weinstein and thankfully drags the ball wide left. So record the first shot of the game, not on goal here for Ohlone, but frightening nonetheless here in minute number 6. So once they go back, they've now retrieved it. Good. They do have a few extra balls here this time, thankfully. Lake Tahoe could have used that when we had to go chase the ball in the woods. At any rate, ball in possession of DVC after Sammi Hebing's goal kick. Taken away, though, by Jacobs from Haley Seguir. Played centrally now for the 22. Banuelos tries to get through a defender, but it's taken away, and up comes Cailin Cunningham running up into the attack. Great ball to split 2 defenders trying to find Julia Curran. Can she get there before it goes out of play? She does indeed. It's got Kappa running with her. Here's Curran trying to work it through 2 defenders instead of feeding a teammate. Nothing doing. Taken away by Escalante. She brings it forward for Garvey. Urena trying to give it to the forward line on Alicia Flores, and now galloping down the right side is the number 11, Rojas. Has to slow up a bit. Looks like she used most of her energy just getting up to speed. Crosses in for Garvey, but Callaway able to head it clear. Seguir not quite able to keep the ball in play as it comes towards this near sideline. It'll be a throw in to Ohlone. So Jacobs brings it up the near sideline, headed by Lozano. Recovered here by Mazleski and Jaime. It's on the foot of Hannah. Out to the right side for Dre. A little mismanaged, but looks like she'll have the speed to chase it back down. Works it centrally, trying to find Curran. Bit too direct. Cut off by Ohlone. Back now to the 2, Blancas. Centrally for Flanagan. And now trying to change the point of attack to this right side. Near sideline, just behind the midfield stripe. Nice idea on the one-touch pass by Analicia Flores, but it is a little too long for the arrival of Rojas. Throw in for DVC for Mazleski. Tries to lay it to Lozano at the outside of the boot. Cleared away by Ohlone. Out here on the near sideline for a throw. So as we mentioned, probably the most exciting game of the season, both of the last 2 seasons, has involved DVC facing Ohlone, at least as far as DVC's matchups have gone. The Vikings falling 2-1 on that late game winner last season. The year before that, DVC, again at Pleasant Hill, turned what looked like a 2-1 loss into a 2-2 draw at the death. In that case, it was Kat Gentry scoring on what looked like a slightly mishit cross that just did get around their goalkeeper. As DVC take the ball away after a throw-in, Mazleski trying to lay it into the space for Jaime. Cailin Cunningham receives now after a bit of a mishit. Cunningham trying to dance her way around someone, and look out. It's stolen here by Analicia Flores. She's going to try to beat Hebing from distance. Hebing just able to catch it. Pop the ball up for just a moment, but does get that save on the first shot on goal today. 2-0 Ohloni's count on shots, 1-0 shots on goal. 1-0 DVC leading on the foul count. But 0-0 on the scoreboard here in minute number 9. Ohloni's first goal, actually 2 years back, was one very similar to that, fooling Jen Kreider from distance. Look out here again, pressure coming from Analicia Flores, and Cailin Cunningham a little bit too casual with that. The ball is out for a DVC throw. We're going to see a pair of substitutions as we hear the imploring yells from DVC's pair of Chavez's up here in the commentary booth with me. Julia Curran out, Hannah Harris entering in her place. Megan Kappa looks to be headed back into the defense. Or perhaps just switching sides here over to the left with the arrival of Kat Hafner. She enters, I believe, yes, for the number 11, Daisy Lozano. So Kappa switches sides, Hafner in on the right. The ball in possession of DVC. Look out. Big collision between Kappa and Sydney Flanagan trying to get to that ball near midfield. We'll need that one for the highlight reel later, won't we? Long drive into the box on the free kick after that foul. Knocked away by Dom Callaway. And it's Hannah Harris chasing this one down, trying to work it off the defender. That is Escalante over there. Ball over the left wing, way too long for Ohlone to do anything with. That'll go out for a Viking throw. So that's now Harris and Seguir up top. So Ohlone certainly with a way of beating DVC, opening the scoring with chips the last couple of years. I mentioned the one 2 years back beating Kreider. Elms was fooled by a chip from 25 yards away by Ana Flores, the starter on the left side of the attack today. That was how the scoring was opened last time these two teams met. Ball down the right wing by Harris does not find its intended target. Cleared away by Ohlone, but back in possession of DVC. Hannah Mazleski inside the center circle, fed by Jaime. Here's the ball for Seguir. She's got Kappa on the overlap on the left, but she's going to go herself. Pushes this one in toward the box. Kappa getting to it at the byline. Crosses! An almost wrong-footed Villalvaso. Tough to tell if that was actually intended as a shot or a mishit cross. Either way, it goes straight to Villalvaso. We will give it as DVC's first shot and shot on goal of the day here in minute number 11. Long goal kick by the freshman goalkeeper. Villalvaso is just under the foot of a DVC player, punched back towards the three-quarter zone, and now settled by Castaño for Ohlone. Into the middle for Bañuelos. Worked forward looking for Urena, but it is a little bit loose. Controlled by Cunningham. She gives it up to Harris. Harris looking to get it off her foot. Puts it down the right flank, trying to find the run down there of Hafner. To it first is the number 2, Blancas, who is apparently now inverted and gone over to the left side. Or excuse me, to the left back position out of center back. Is able to play it off of Hafner, and it will be a renegade throw. So Ohlone, after that game, managed to finish 12-6-2 last season. They went 8-1-2 in the Coast North Conference, or the North Division, I should say, of the Coast Conference. They were second in the division, just 1 point behind City College of San Francisco. Ended up being the 9 seed, but fell to Feather River College of Quincy by a 6-2 margin in the first round. So objectively a better season for them than the Vikings necessarily had, but ended in exactly the same way. Ohlone first chance at a throw-in is put back out by DVC, but they do get this one in. Ball dropped back into the defense. Look out for the pressure of Haley Seguir, who's taking the ball off of a defender. Seguir trying to get it onto her left for a shot. It's blocked away. Here comes a drive from distance from Kat Hafner. That one is not going to find its way on target, but credit both Seguir and Hafner with a pair of shots. The Vikings trying to show just a little bit more in the way of intent here as we work our way toward the middle third of this first period. So that'll be the last act for Seguir for a little bit. Carla Ramos entering in her place. And the free kick immediately taken to the right side, and Ramos lurking, lingering. So is Hannah Harris, both of them pursuing right near the edge of the 18-yard box. Kopp able to block the attempted long ball by Jacobs. Only goes out for a throw. Goes right up the near sideline for the number 11, Rojas. Worked into the center. Sure looked like a handball there by the Ohlone number 15. That is Vanessa Villanueva, who came in the meanwhile. Here's a ball in towards the left channel, trying to find a teammate. Ball for Urena. Working a two-woman game with Dina Ramos. Up comes Dre Weinstein to close that off. Tries to put it out the right side. Hafner not going to be able to hold that in, but a little bit of dangerous play there for Ohlone College. We see Dina Ramos and Vanessa Villanueva in up top. I do believe Ana Flores has dropped back into the midfield. It may take a moment to see exactly who has come off the pitch. It does appear Castaño is no longer in the game, so she is replaced by one of those two. We'll figure out who the other one is in just a moment. Here's the throw-in, taking one big bounce near the top of the 18-yard box for Ohlone. Cunningham couldn't get to it. Kopp able to clear it away. Mazleski put to ground by the arrival of the number 22, Bañuelos. Puts it out wide to the right side near the corner flag. Rojas working against Cunningham. Cunningham able to shield her off with the body. Still working on it is Cailin, looking for a little assistance. Day's trying to show for it. Cunningham gets out of it on her own, though. She's now running with Kappa nearby. She can't quite get it off of her foot in time, though. Flores stops the ball cold. Here comes a cross for her into the 18-yard box. Callaway knocks that away. Mazleski trying to take it away from Bañuelos. Sprayed out wide for Flores. She's going to try again. This one right down the throat of Sammi Hebing. Definitely intended as a shot, so 3-3 the shot count, 2-2 shots on goal, 2-0 the count on fouls. Yet to see a corner. Yet to see a goal here as we are in minute number 15. Hannah Harris trying to hold the ball in at the far sideline as DVC worked their way towards the attack. Not quite able to do so, though. Out for a renegade throw. Another substitution here as Shelby Richmond enters, and I believe that is Ana Flores with the long braided ponytail in the back going all the way down to the bottom of her number 5 jersey coming off the pitch in her place. So it appears to be Richmond and perhaps even Urena up top. He certainly shift around a great deal here. Yasmin Jaime able to take a ball away in the center, works it into space for Ramos. She's got an overlap coming for Kappa. May have played it a little too hard for her. Can Megan get there before it goes out of play? It does appear she's going to make it. Coasts in, crosses this, and can't quite get enough bend to keep it in play. Out the back for a throw-in, or excuse me, a goal kick rather, for Ohlone College. So in that Ohlone game, we've talked an awful lot about the suffering that happened to the Vikings, the Flores goal early on the chip, the Eliana Varela game winner in the 89th, maybe 90th minute. It was pretty much right at the stroke of 90 minutes. Substitution here in the meanwhile for the Vikings. Isela Rodriguez coming in for Capa, a little winded from that long gallop down the left side. But that was also the game in which Ashley Scannell got her first and thus far only tally in a DVC uniform. That was the equalizer, one of the, I believe actually the only time all season that the Vikings equalized in the second half of a game. Otherwise, in general, if they went down, they ended up losing. They only equalized twice all season, that one in the game against Modesto when Hannah Harris hit back pretty quickly. We do see Scannell herself getting warmed up to face the one adversary she's managed to punish. We'll see when she gets in here. Minute number 17, ball in possession briefly here of Ohlone. Looks like Rodriguez and Dargan trying to take it away. Carla Ramos trying to work it from under Villanueva, and up steps Yasmin Jaime to help out with that task. Hannah Harris on it, working her way to the left flank, trying to get some time up in the attack. Now cuts her run centrally, up steps Jacobs. Hannah gets around her. It looked like a swinging leg there. Could have been counted as reckless, but nothing given. Ohlone take the ball away, trying to work a quick game with Bañuelos down the right wing for Villanueva. Richmond tracking back, but Cunningham gets a strong enough boot to it to give it to Sammi Hebing. Sammy's boot also pretty strong. That's into the stands here on the near sideline on one hop off the track circling the field. Substitutions here for Ohlone. We see the number 16, Brianna Montoya, entering for the number 11, Esmeralda Rojas. Looks like a like-for-like substitution as she stations herself on the near sideline, right side of the midfield. Throw in chested down by Isela. Can't quite hold it in play. So Montoya, one of the goal scorers in the one Ohlone win so far this season. Shasta falling 6-0 to this team in the first outing for the Fremont side. Don't get too excited, though. It is the 29th ranked team last season out of 37 in Northern California, so Ohlone doing what they ought to, given the quality this side has shown in the past. Here's the long throw in. Hebing is going to have to come out and claim that very quickly as Shelby Richmond was trying to work her way toward it. A little bit of a lazy ball in there. And Sammy uncorks this one deep. Montoya got on the goal scoring sheet, as did Richmond, who we just talked about. It was 3 goals in the first half in the span of 4 minutes that really opened that game up. Garvey, and Urena. Ana Flores as well with a goal, 2 assists. Bañuelos and Garvey each with assists. Pretty good outing for Ohlone, who were not able to follow that up. Ended up falling in their next game against Cuesta, the 31st ranked team last year in Southern California, by a 1-0 scoreline. That goal conceded by their sophomore goalkeeper, their returner, Nicole Costello, who had 4 matches last season, 4 starts, I should say, and 8 matches in which she played. Vikings working after the substitution. Ball down the right side now, looking for Hannah Masleski. Beats a defender to it. Did she play it off the defender? Waiting for the signal from Mr. Novello, and he has indeed pointed to the corner flag. So first corner kick of the game earned here by Hannah Masleski out on the right side. In the meanwhile, the substitution for the Vikes, we saw Ashley Scannell enter the match, and I may appeal to the Chavezes. Did you guys see who she came in for? Okay, well, I see. Okay, so in for Carla. Here's the corner kick, very, very close in, and we see the flag up for offside after Hannah Harris managed to knock it down, almost fed it straight back into the path of Carla Ramos, who had just hit it. Unfortunately, Ramos in an offside position at that point with DVC, not using anybody right at the goalpost at that moment. So the first corner doesn't yield much here. The Vikings have been pretty successful off set pieces. They've also conceded now off of a set piece last week against Las Positas. Defense manages the initial Ohlone possession, and Hebing now gives the ball to Dre Weinstein. She plays it off of Dina Ramos, and it will be a throw-in for the Vikings in just a moment. So it looks like Ramos, Richmond, and Villanueva playing in an attacking trident right now, perhaps. Although, right as I say that, Ramos works her way back into the midfield, so what do I know? Shifting and changing. Ball briefly in possession of Ohlone. The throw-in given back to them as it heads out on the far sideline. So we presently see, well, I'm going to wait to say anything about what we currently see because a couple more substitutions are coming in right now. This is your first podcast you're listening to. Substitution policy in community college soccer is just total anarchy. You sub when you like, you sub as much as you like. People can come in and out, more or less at random. In this case, Haley Garvey has re-entered the match, and the number 23, Tiffany Harrison, has come in the defense. Ohlone in possession, trying to surge their way up, taken off the boot of Shelby Richmond by Dom Calloway, and settled nicely at the midfield by Hannah Harris. She's looking for somebody to feed, tries to go into the middle for Ashley, who can't quite get a foot to it to settle it for herself. It goes straight to Crystal Villalbazo. She is in an all-black goalkeeper kit with pink and white accents on the sleeves. Ball settles here for a moment for Shelby Richmond. She tries to touch it through the opposing 19 at Dre Weinstein. She walls that off nicely, puts it down the right flank. To be Kat Hafner trying to pursue that. And by the by, I think I was wrong before. I think that was actually Kat that earned DVC's first corner, not Hannah Masleski. 17 and 13, a little hard to see from up here. Hannah Harris touches the ball forward with the head, not quite able to find a teammate, though, with it. It's currently Harris and Scannell up top. Rodriguez and Masleski in the middle of the midfield with Ramos wide left, Hafner wide right. Same defense we started with. We'll try to figure out Ohloni's in just a moment. It's Carla Ramos in possession here on the left side of the midfield. Drops it back to Cunningham. Pressure coming from the 19, Shelby Richmond. Montoya, her partner in attack. Banuelos in the center of the midfield is dusted right now by Dre Weinstein. She tries to go central. This ball's going to drift, though, past Scannell and Harris and back to Villalbazo for an easy drop kick. Appears to be the same defense we've been working with the whole time for Ohlone, but they've been shuffling people up here in the attack. Dej Dargan looks like she's going to be sanctioned here, a foul called against her for getting the arm out just a little bit too far as she challenged with the 14, Haley Garvey, for that ball. And so on the free kick, a few more Renegades surge forward here as we are in right at about the halfway point of the first half. Here's the ball in, headed down by Dom Calloway, trying to take a rip from distance is Dina Ramos, but she's not able to put that one on target. Drifts wide left, and it will be a Viking goal kick in just a moment. And more substitutions, why not? Alex Mejia enters in the midfield, as does the number 4, Jasmine Torres, who I actually thought was injured, but just was taken off the starting lineup, apparently. They come in for the 13, Jacobs, and the 22, Banuelos. So I will try to sum up what's going on in their defense in just a moment if I can, but not going to worry too much about it. 24th minute, 0-0. Does appear to be Harrison here at right back. Same center pairing, or excuse me, no, the center pairing is now, looks to be Torres. Actually, looks like they might even be going to a 5-woman defense at this point. Very big back line. Goal kick coming here for Sammi Hebing. Tried to put it into play. A referee called it back. It's going to go long. Knocked down in the midfield by the number 7. Is the newly inserted Alexandra Mejia. Not quite able to hold on to it. And her ball down the right is intercepted by Hannah Harris. And she's running onto the flank with a ton of room. She's got Scannell working with her. Needs a bit of help. The cavalry is arriving for Ohlone. Harris tries to get the ball off of her boot. Knocks it back for Isela. More pressure coming. Tries to put this into space for Hannah Masleski. And the attack goes up in smoke. Certainly need to see more support for Harris on that right flank in a moment like that. We're going to see, though, maybe that's a bit of fatigue and a bit of dehydration coming up at that moment because we are going to take our first water break. And with that, we're going to take a moment back out on the field ready to, hopefully make good use of all that extra hydration. I'm going to take a moment to do the same. All right. Back in action. Ball hoofed back towards the left side of Ohloni's attack, managed there by Dom Calloway. Isela able to get it off of her foot, brings it forward for Scannell, trying to work it past the number 4, Jasmine Torres, but to no avail. Scannell having a bit of a hard time out there right now, getting stops on the ball and doing anything with it when she does actually get control. She's going to have another opportunity here as it comes free. DVC with a couple of substitutions. Nope, unable to get the ball off of her foot to Carla Ramos. Nightmare at the moment continuing. Luckily mismanaged by Ohlone. Masleski back up to Scannell. Carla Ramos able to get onto it, plays it off. It looked like the hand of an Ohlone player. It's going to be a throw-in one way or the other. Ball in possession of Hannah Harris. Tries with the tip of her boot to switch the ball over to the right side for Kat Hafner. In the meanwhile, one new insertion for DVC, Gabby Silva into the game, working with Mazleski, Hafner, and Ramos. So she looks to have come in place of Isela. That's probably who I thought I was seeing on that initial run. Ball in control of Hafner on the right side. Works it centrally for Scannell. Quick to get it off of her boot this time for Hannah Harris. Tries to put that into the center. Not quite enough mustard on it to get it to Mazleski, but good work there in the middle by Dej Dargan to take it right back. Works it forward for Carla Ramos. Uses the body to shield the ball to the outside. Now trying to dribble her way into the inside. Tries to get through the first defender, Tiffany Harrison. Almost did. Harrison plays the ball out. Looks like it went out just shy of the corner flag. And so it'll be a throw-in from very, very deep. According to the scoreboard clock, about 19 minutes left. If you count the water break, it's actually the 29th minute right now. Throw in about to come for the Vikings. Here it is back to Mazleski on the left side. Trying to work it back to Carla. Touched away by the number 16, Montoya. Playing very, very deep now. She looks to have settled back into the defense with Garvey up top, pairing with Shelby Richmond. Here comes a cross into the 18. Popped up in the air inside the 6 by Ohlone. Trying to clear and get it to the edge of the 18-yard box. They managed to do so. Controlled for a moment by Mejia. Walled off there by Gabby Silva. Silva was thinking about a shot, but it's taken right off of her foot as she wound up. And look out now. DVC a little bit exposed with Silva out of position. Here comes Mejia trying to work it forward, and it's Dom Calloway to wall off the pass. Calloway, though, has to get back onto that with Mejia surging again. Tried to play that down the right wing for no one in particular. Lozano intercepts. Ramos, quick to get it off of her foot with the pressure coming. Gets it to Mazleski, who gives it right back to Carla, surging through the center circle. Here comes Carla, working it forward now for Hannah Mazleski in the three-quarter zone. We hear the indications coming from up here. Hannah trying to work it through the legs of Escalante. Plays it forward for Ramos, but can't get a touch to settle, and it goes straight through to Villalbazo. And so the freshman goalkeeper hoofs that one deep, late of Independence High School in San Jose. Ball batting about in the midfield here. Ohlone trying to get in control. They have a loose ball that comes free to Hannah Harris. Knocked back now to Silva. Here's Hafner at the far sideline. Centrally for Silva. Not much pressure coming. Gabby works it into space now. Scannell trying to turn. Has it taken off of her again. Ball into the center. Dej Dargan on it. Top of the center circle. Decides to go back to Dom Calloway to relieve a little pressure. Garvey trying to arrive on her. Now puts the pressure on DVC's number 15. Worked forward, Mazleski. Elegant work to touch it around Mejia. And now flows it down the right flank for Kat Hafner. DVC with 3 runners coming into the box. Here's Hafner. Pull! Got that in on the ground in the direction of Hannah Harris. Cleared, though, by Ohlone. Not a bad opportunity. And now Ohlone coming down the other end. Long ball looking for Shelby Richmond. She's going to be one-on-one with Sammi. Top of the 18. Richmond! Off target, and thank heavens. Shot number 5 for the Renegades of Ohlone. And that one drifts just wide with Hebing beaten.
Nice thing with her, Daisy.
It was Lozano chasing Richmond all the way back there. Wasn't able to get in front of her, but certainly didn't let her settle herself. And it turned out that made all the difference. Substitution time here. Ohlone bringing in Flores, along with the number 9, Castaño, re-entering the game, and the number 8 going out to the far left side. That's Josie Beidelman with her first action of the day. DVC presently with Lozano playing left back, and JC re-entering the match as well. Hannah Kidson in there for her first action today, and JC surging through 2 defenders. Almost got her way to the end of it, but it appears that a foul is whistled in the meanwhile, and it'll be a free kick for DVC. Julia Curran doing some good work, working her way into the three-quarter zone, and looks like this is going to be on the foot of Carla Ramos, although it's a fair bit further back. It looks like the referee, Mr. Mays, called that back for advantage, or after an advantage. But it will be Ramos to put this in. Curran, Kidson, Silva, and Hafner lined up at the edge of the 18-yard box. Each of them marked up with an Ohlone defender, 4 in the wall for the Renegades. Mr. Mays is satisfied with the wall. Here comes Carla from about 27 yards out. It's short, looking for Mazleski. She stings one towards the left, and Villalbazo nearly unsighted and almost lost it. She does manage to make the save off of that scheme. 3rd shot on goal for DVC. They lead Ohlone in that particular category 3-2. Ohlone putting a few more shots in the vague direction of goal, just not getting them on frame. 5 shots, but only 2 of them on goal. Great move by JC to get herself around a defender. She shoots, knocked down at point-blank range. Tries to get back onto it, but it's going to be taken now by Ohlone. Drop back for the 7 Mejia. Centrally, and Mazleski back on it. Dropped into the defense for Weinstein. She plays it off of Flores and earns the Vikings a throw-in. Final quarter of an hour of the first half getting started right about now. Substitution time for both sides again. That'll be Megan Kappa entering for Kat Hafner on the right flank, so that's going to mean Ramos on the left, Kappa on the right, Mazleski and Silva in all likelihood playing in the center. It is currently Dargan and Callaway in the center of the defense, Weinstein wide right, Lozano wide left, Curran and Kidson up top. Throw in just over the head of DVC's number 4, Hannah Kidson. Also entering for Ohlone, we saw the number 10, Melissa Urena, re-entering, as well as the number 11, Esmeralda Rojas. Silva trying to dance through a few defenders, nearly did. Kidson gets on the ball, but plays it down the right flank. Nobody really moving there. And so it'll be another Ohlone throw. 0-0 your score line here in what is officially minute number 32. Cailin Cunningham awaiting her re-entry into the game over at the near sideline. Ohlone team with a heck of a lot of returners. We mentioned Melissa Urena, certainly the most impressive player statistically over last season. As DVC's back in control, here's Hannah Mazleski trying to thread it through the left side for Carla Ramos. Popped up in the air by an Ohlone defender, but Ramos able to get back onto it, uses the body well, gets it free to Hannah Mazleski. Mazleski thinking about feeding Hannah Kidson, but she puts a little bit too much on the through ball, and that will be claimed by Villalbazo. So they do have one returning goalkeeper, Nicole Costello, but she has just started the one game so far, and is the lone Ohlone keeper to concede a goal. Long bouncing ball from Villalbazo is claimed by the head of Dom Callaway and settled now by DVC. Ball a little too long for Gabby Silva. Another giveaway on the attacking half, and Melissa Urena has Silva run right up her ankles, and that'll be a free kick for Ohlone, thankfully in not too dangerous of a position. So they do have the football markings out here on the field, so I can tell you that this is 49 yards away from the goal. Very, very central. Ball hoofed in by Torres. This one heading towards the penalty spot. Analicia Flores pops the ball up towards the right side. Settled by Rojas with the head. Now Callaway able to get onto it. She tries to spray this out for the arrival of Julia Curran. Nothing doing, but Ohlone not able to settle it and keep it in play. Here comes the throw immediately for Curran, but the referee wants to operate a substitution first. Cailin Cunningham will re-enter. And leaving the pitch for the moment appears to be... No, not Dejiana Dargan. She just looks like she's going over to take the throw in. So Daisy Lozano leaves, and Dargan goes back to the left side, the left back position. Ramos trying to flick that ball over her own head to find a teammate. Thought for a second that it took a deflection, but it is a throw in to Ohlone. Ramos, a little bit of what the Italians call furbizia, just kind of holding the ball up, letting the Vikings get reset. Immediately it's Ramos and Dargan working to work that ball off of an Ohlone player. They do, taking it away from the number 10, Urena. And they earn themselves a throw-in here for the Vikings inside the midfield half. Hannah Kidson trying to get onto that after a touch from the head of Carla Ramos. Ball worked towards the right flank for Ohlone. Punched away by Cailin Cunningham, and not particularly well settled by Urena. It's going to be Mazleski coming away with it. Mazleski not quite able to touch it off of Bañuelos there. And Ohlone have earned themselves a throw-in. Taken immediately to Stephanie Bañuelos. Up comes Mazleski. She commits a foul. Little on the soft side. We hear Lizzie Chavez saying, "Sorry, Maz is so strong." It is true. Players bounce off of her. Headbands just snap due to her majesty. And so the referee has come over and apparently given a yellow card to DVC coach Colleen Mullins. It's the first of the game. Look out here. She still appears to be talking. She may be running a bit of a risk here. Apparently not happy with the foul called against Hannah Mazleski, and you can hear the crowd now asking for him to just send her to the showers at this point. Maybe we'll take a moment and ask her at halftime what it is that she's particularly going after him about. I certainly imagine the Mozleski foul is part of it, but she pointed over towards the Ohlone attacking third. Mr. Mays heads away. Never a DVC Ohlone game without some refereeing drama, is there? Ball briefly in control of Ohlone at the far sideline. Not able to hold it in, though, is the number 8, Beidelman. And as we enter the final 10 minutes of half number 1, still deadlocked at 0-0, Vikings prepare for a throw-in. Here it comes to Julia Curran, trying to spin her way through into the attacking third. Not going to be able to do it. Ball cleared away. Headed forward, though, by Kate Cunningham. One good touch brings the ball forward by Dre Weinstein. Curran trying to turn around a defender, but takes a little too long to develop, and she ends up giving the ball away to Bañuelos in the middle. Chasing after it now is Curran, but Bañuelos gets it off of her foot to Llorena. And now there's a bit of space here on the left side. Touched quickly forward, looking for Ana Flores. Out comes Cunningham, and she's able to punch that away again. This goes out the far sideline, right at the midfield stripe. So we mentioned another of a decent number of starters back for Ohlone. Llorena, in particular, not particularly impressive against DVC. She did manage to lead the team in both goals and assists, 10 and 7 respectively. But from what I saw, not exactly a speedy player. Certainly crafty, good dribbler. Seems faster on the ball than she does off of it, at least she did then. Although it's always hard to tell exactly what you can read out of a player's 6th or 7th collegiate game. Curran, with her heel, manages to roll the ball into space for Silva. Unfortunately, she can't get there before the Ohlone defender does. Good pressure, though, from the captain, Kappa, and that's out the far sideline for a DVC throw. So she certainly hasn't seemed to be much of a force so far today. We've seen a couple of long balls over the top. The speed certainly of concern at this point. Shelby Richmond with the best opportunity we've seen, putting that shot off target. Curran whistled foul, not against her, but committed to her detriment, and so that'll be a DVC free kick. Just the second foul whistled today against Ohlone, to 5 for DVC. 7 minutes, 44 seconds to go, according to the scoreboard clock in today's game. Jaime and the number 18, Escalante, ready to re-enter the match when they get the opportunity. Free kick from about 45 yards. Dom Calloway towards the top of the 18. Takes a happy hop in the direction of Julia Curran, but she was offside. Took a big bounce right over the top of a couple of Ohlone players and over Hannah Kidson. And so the free kick coming for the offside call. As we said, generally very even in terms of scoring chances. The Vikings have put a few on goal. We saw Mozleski probably with the best shot thus far off the developments of that free kick. Very nearly fooled Villalbazo. So the ball from Villalbazo goes straight over the sideline. It'll be a throw-in for DVC. Here come the substitutions. Yasmin Jaime in for apparently Hannah Mozleski. So that'll mean Yazzie and Gabby in the center, it appears. Still Ramos and Kappa out wide behind Kidson and Curran. Also a substitution, Escalante back in for Ohlone. And leaving the match is the number 8, Beidelman, in what appears to be a 5-woman defense for Ohlone College. Ball headed forward by Sydney Flanagan. Comes free off the boot of Llorena. Trying to defend that is Hannah Kidson. Looks to dribble it through the number 4, Torres, and earns DVC a throw. Ramos ready to take it. Wants to do it quickly. Has Curran moving. Throws this nicely into her path at the top of the 18. Curran trying to knock it down. Maybe needed to just take a whack. Ball cleared away just over the head of Megan Kappa, and she will chase that. It'll be a DVC throw at about 20 yards from goal. That ball over the shoulder of Curran. She sought to settle it instead of maybe just trying to spin and take a whack at it near goal. Had it worked off of her before she could pull the trigger. Comes the throw-in, past a couple of Ohlone defenders. The last one just in front of Kidson does settle it. Jaime gets that off of her chest and is thinking about some pyrotechnics and uncorks a shot right at Crystal Villalbazo. 4th on goal for the Vikings. 5-5 the total shot count right now. Whew. Cailin Cunningham strong and possibly head-to-head into an Ohlone player. She remains on the deck for a moment as Ohlone take the ball back through Sydney Flanagan. Back to her feet now is the 5, Ana Flores. And she's the one who settles this ball here as she tries to feed a teammate down the wing. Nice spin move. B button from Dom Calloway to get around an on-rushing attacker. I think that was Castaño. In possession of Kappa. Works it down the right side. Popped up by Silva in the direction of Curran. Cleared now by Ohlone. Jaime onto it. Pops it up near Dre Weinstein. Works centrally. Able to settle and spin is Silva, but the ball too central. Long ball popped up now in the air by Cailin Cunningham. Taking some odd bounces and weird spin off of the artificial surface here at Takfudena Stadium. Ball worked centrally here, and Hannah Kidson running right into an Ohlone defender. Ball taken away by Urena. Tries to push it back to the left side now for Ohlone. Now worked centrally for Banuelos and taken away by DVC's number 22, Yasmin Jaime. And it's JC blowing by one defender. She's trying to work her way off the hip of the number 2. She's going to take a drive and can't get it to curve on target. But maybe a better idea now, just starting to pull the trigger and have that boldness. We saw her very nearly score early moments of the Las Positas match with a pretty audacious shot from about 25 yards out. That one perhaps closer, hard to tell from this angle. 4 minutes left, Villalvaso, the goal kick. Headed forward by Yasmin Jaime. She got a whole heck of a lot of that, and that's going to go all the way across the end line for another goal kick. It was a 40-yard header. Hannah Kidson tried to turn around and get onto that, but it was booking. So also back for Ohlone, we mentioned Costello, who we may see in the second half. That's been the way that Coach Heslin has done it to this point. So the goal kick is intercepted here by Gabby Silva, worked out to the left side for Hannah Kidson. Kidson trying to face up a player, earns DVC a throw-in. No, she does not. Looks like the last touch came off of our number 4 instead of their number 4, Torres. But they also have back Torres, who we just mentioned. They have back Ana Flores, Villanueva, and Ramos, who we've already seen. Each of those players started at least half of Ohloni's games last year, and something else to have that kind of experience coming off the bench. We saw Villanueva and Ramos both entering off the bench today. They've got a number of other players that certainly had a lot of time. Blancas, Castaño, Mejia, and Richmond all came into 18 of their games. Yasmin Jaime fouled as she tries to work her way through on the left side, and we hear the oohs and ahs from the groups of players over here at the moves of DVC's young one, although there are certainly younger ones now. Still like it as a nickname. 2.5 minutes left. Carla Ramos to take this from just a little across midfield here at the near sideline. Puts the ball forward looking for Hannah Kidson, reflected by the Ohlone defense. Nice touch with the outside of the boot by the number 14. I've forgotten who that is. That's Garvey. Fortunately, all for naught for her. As Ramos is able to take it. It's now Silva. Fed again. Silva, somebody needs to get that ball over to Megan Coppa on the far right side. She had a lot of space to move into. Though Ohlone mismanages the ball once they do get in possession, and it's going to be a DVC throw from about 35 yards shy of the byline. And so a little under 2 minutes left. The clock brought to a stop here at Takfudena Stadium. Throw in for DVC, reflected by the defense. Dom Calloway comes up to it. She's thinking about feeding Carla Ramos from midfield. Ramos knocks it down nicely, tries to get the ball either into the 6 or on frame, and unfortunately does put it off the woodwork, but off the back of the woodwork. So that is shot number 7 today. 5 on frame for the Vikings. 5 shots for Ohlone, 2 on frame for them. Ball controlled again by DVC. Gabby Silva on it on the right side. Worked forward on a 1-2 by Coppa for Curran. Curran forced to track back a little bit, trying to dribble around another player. She will put this forward for Hannah Kidson, who knocks it down. Tries to refeed Curran. Nothing doing, though. Cleared away. And Dej Dargan now. Not quite able to settle. So a substitution coming now with about a minute to go. It's going to be the number 16, Brianna Montoya, re-entering. And looks to be, I think, Urena may be coming off. She has certainly not had her kind of game like she's had against conference opponents. As we said, did not particularly shine against DVC last year either. Ball popped up at the near sideline by the chest of Esmeralda Rojas. Gabby Silva working on her, gets a toe to it. Nearly did put it away. Ball cleared up in the direction of Carla Ramos. She plays it off of the number 11 and manages to take the ball away cleanly, and now is going to refeed Hannah Kidson at the left side of the box. Hannah squares this one up. Arriving is Coppa. Can't get to it. Rama back on it. Curran. Julia Curran, moments before the final whistle for halftime, gives DVC a 1-0 lead. Beautiful work and very composed work, particularly by Carla Ramos in the middle. To get to that ball, it was Kappa trying to run onto the initial cross by Hannah Kidson. She was shielded off by the defender. Ramos got to it, squared it up for JC, and she let loose a rocket. That's the kind of finishing we need to make the sort of territorial dominance that we've seen in these first few games count. And that will be, moments later, the final whistle of half number 1. So your scoreline as we go to the break, DVC 1, Ohlone 0. Welcome back to the studio here, halftime, and man, there is nothing like a stoppage time goal right before the break to send you into the locker room with a smile on your face and a skip in your step. Julia Curran's first of the season has the Vikings leading the Renegades 1-0 through 45. I'm joined now by 3 members of a defensive unit that Coach Mullins called among the smartest I've ever had, a freshman-dominated unit that later this season would shut out Fresno and Santa Rosa, the eventual top 2 seeds in the NorCal playoffs, in back-to-back weeks. Goalkeeper Sammi Hebing and defenders Cailin and Kristen Cunningham. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, it's been 5 years since you all suited up in green and white. Where has life taken you in the interim? Let's start with Kristen.
Well, since I was last speaking with you all, I have become a firefighter paramedic for the city of Milpitas, and I've been working on that for the past about 4 years. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, and Sammi?
I finished out my degree in Monterey after leaving DVC, went down to San Luis Obispo after graduation, worked for a durable medical equipment company for a little while, and then just a few months ago moved to Bozeman, Montana. I'm working for an orthopedic office out here and working on my exercise physiologist certification.
Say 2 of you, there being 2 of many that are involved in some manner of healthcare. A very popular profession for ex-DVC athletes. Cailin?
After DVC, I moved to Italy and earned my bachelor's degree in history. And now I go to school in Germany, earning my master's in heritage conservation and site management.
Right, and I believe it's going to be, 4 days from the moment of this interview that you'll be on your way?
Yep, going back.
Well, glad we got it scheduled before the time difference wound up being prohibitive. Now, the game we're in the midst of, Ohlone DVC, what, if anything, do you all remember about this particular game?
I remember it being just super exciting. It was super energetic, and that was probably one of the most fun games to watch for me, definitely, and be a part of.
I know it was early in the season. I remember it was super hot, especially being on artificial turf. I'm pretty sure in the first half of that game, I had to call over to coach and get a sub because my feet were burning and I just needed a break.
And of course,
Yeah.
no breaks for the goalkeeper.
No, my job, I feel like, on those hot games was always to keep some water by my goal for everyone else. So
Lifesaver.
definitely what I was trying to do is keep my defense hydrated so I wasn't left hung out to dry.
Now, of course, we're going to have a major highlight involving Sammi later on in the game, and we'll borrow you for that when we get there. But just in general, this was a really special defensive unit in 2015, especially early in the season. I think in the first 11 matches, you conceded just 5 goals, and there were only 3 teams that ever managed to score more than once against you. I remember Coach Mullins expressing some wonderment in particular in some of our interviews about how you managed that kind of record without being particularly pacey or overly aggressive. I remember, Sammi, you were definitely someone who trusted your shot-stopping ability and didn't necessarily come out and charge people down, and for the most part, that was a good thing to trust. What do you think made you all so hard to score on that year?
I think, like you said, we were a very patient defense. Like, I remember Cailin, I trusted Cailin completely to run that backfield, and she never would, panic or anything like that, or maybe you did on the inside, I'm not sure, but never showed it. Was super calm, super confident in herself, and I think that decisiveness and that just ability to lead really played into all of our other defensive backs. So we just had a strong sense of leadership in the backfield.
I also remember that we worked really well together as a team overall. I think early on in the season, we were able to figure out how to move together as a pack, stay really close together. We learned how to fill the gaps when one of us would move forward. And it wasn't just the back line either. We got a lot of help from our defensive mids, like Dom when she was playing there. They would also come back and fill in the gaps. So it wasn't so much of a one back line. We had 3 layers to it: the midfield, the back line, and then if anyone managed to get through us two, we had complete confidence in Sammi or Katie, whoever was back there in goal.
I think definitely there was just an unspoken communication from the beginning with everybody. Just a bond that is super rare, and it's an awesome thing when you finally get to experience that. And like both Sammi and Cailin were saying, just having complete confidence in each other was definitely a huge help with that.
Now, back in 2015, when I did the sophomore interviews, I think the only one of you I actually got to interview was Sammi, because I didn't realize we were going to lose the Cunningham sisters at that point. But basically, I had this question at the end that became rather notorious, and it was, what will you remember most 5 years from now about your time playing for DVC, and who are you going to most miss playing with? It's not a hypothetical anymore. So what I'm loving about this series is I get to get your answers now 5 years down the line. What's the first thing that jumps to your mind when you hear the word Vikings? I think we'll start with Kristen this time.
When I hear Vikings, I definitely think of just a huge sense of community. I was super nervous going into DVC. I didn't really know anybody, coming from high school, knowing everybody from the past 4 years, and then just jumping in a new sport, not knowing anybody but my sister. That was super nerve-wracking, but everybody was so welcoming, and we had so much fun on and off the field, especially in the locker rooms. That was a good time.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that I miss is, I think Vikings, and I just remember stepping out onto that field, every day for 2 years. That was a lot. I walked into DVC not really expecting to be there. I emailed Coach Mullins very close to the start of season to see if there were any tryouts or openings on the team. So it was a big switch in my life for me, and it's definitely one of my favorite memories. All the times with the girls, and just like Kristen said, on and off the field, we just had so much fun.
I mean, we've been focusing on this, on our back line for the entirety of our conversation, and that's what I miss the most. Hands down, that was one of the best back lines I've ever been a part of. And just having full confidence in my teammates gave me full confidence in myself. And I feel like that entire season, we all played to the best of our abilities, and I for sure had the best season of my life on that team. So I miss the competitiveness and then the fun afterwards, like Kristen said. We gave everything on the field during practice and games, but afterwards we were joking, we were having a great time playing games. It was great.
One of the things I've taken to doing after that question is telling each of you what jumps to my mind, because just about everybody that I've been around in green and white has made some sort of impression, and so I'm just going to go around the horn. Kristen, the thing that I tend to think about are those 2 late goals against American River and Modesto toward the end of the season, and you and me both freaking out, me into a microphone, and happening to lock eyes with each other and kind of look and realize, like, oh, shoot, we're on the field. How did that happen? Get back where we're supposed to be. Just those moments there of just jubilant celebration. I always knew I had a partner in that. Sammi, a big part is going to be the highlight we have in about 45 minutes or so in this game, but just in general, those moments where I would see somebody just coming at you at 100 miles an hour and kind of feeling in the pit of my stomach, uh-oh, this is about to be ugly, and then you would just push off those strong legs and stop things that I didn't think you had any business stopping.
1-2 between Wallace and Rodriguez. Wallace fires, big save, Sammi Hebing, and over to clean that up at the control. Good 1-2 played by Burkhardt. Burkhardt trying to play it through Cunningham. Ball comes to Lim, firing, and another gigantic save.
And it was an education for me watching goalkeepers in that moment to see, oh, okay, you can do it that way too. That's neat. And then Cailin, I remember we've been talking about the defense a ton here, but I remember the goal that you had taken away against Sacramento City, and I was so angry about that. Where I think they called you for a handball, but it had hit you in the chest. And I was furious. I redid the goal call in my post-game show because I was like, you deserved that. And then a month later, we're at Sac City for the game.
on the road against them, and you end up outdoing yourself with probably one of the tastiest goals of the entire season.
Corner to be taken by Hannah Harris from the right. Here's the aggressive run. Finds Cunningham. Goal! Go, 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 go!
I think even on the video, I can hear Sammi, who I believe was maybe injured that day, just giggling as much about you getting the goal as about me losing my mind when we were already up 4-0. I was very, very happy. I love to see the ones who sacrifice themselves on that defensive end getting the chance to celebrate that too. Before we head on out, are there any shout-outs you'd like to do to old teammates or coaches that might be watching?
I just want to thank Coach Mullins for all of her support and just positivity during that season. That was awesome. And everybody else too. All the girls were definitely a part of that as well, just allowing me to feel so welcomed in such an unfamiliar place.
Definitely hi to Coach, and then hi to everyone else on that back line. Joe, I think you've been talking to most of the people that we've been playing with, but if you have anyone else in the future, hi to everyone. Like I said, best back line I've ever played on in my life. It was a great time.
Yeah, to just piggyback on that, everyone, there's not really a specific person I want to shout out. I think I miss playing with all of you. Hi to the entire coaching staff. We just had a great vibe, and it definitely is a great memory to look back on.
Well, it was great catching up with the three of you, and of course, Cailin and Kristen, say hi to Callie for me too. The third of the Cunningham sisters that played in green and white. It's time right now to head back to Fremont, where that great defense is put into the service of preserving a hard-won advantage through the next 45 minutes. Enjoy the nerve-jangling second half of Ohlone DVC.
Actually, I think she's there in place of Alexandra Jacobs as we are now underway for half number 2. Also out there, Esmeralda Rojas on the right side of the midfield for them. For the Vikings, it's Weinstein, Callaway, Cunningham and Dargan, the same usual defense. Mazleski and Jaime in the middle, Lozano on the left, Kappa on the right, Harris and Segir up top. So our first time seeing the H2 attack, Haley and Hannah up at the front line for DVC, as Ohlone has immediately earned a throw-in from the far sideline. Again, that's the right side of their attack now as they move in search of an equalizer. They've got the ball there at the near sideline, managed between Flores and Orena. Trying to work her way through now is Flores. Orena tracking back as Hannah Mazleski takes the ball away and tries to work forward. Jasmine Torres reflects that one back towards the box. Looked like Garvey might have been offside, but DVC is going to have to manage this. Dargan putting it out for a throw-in about 10 yards shy of the byline. So the Vikings on top after Curran's stoppage time go-ahead goal off the assist from Carla Ramos. That's JC's first of the season. Last year, she got most of her goals right there at the beginning of the season, had a pair of goals in the first 2 Vikings games. Here comes the deep throw-in towards the top of the 6-yard box, headed clear by Mazleski. Look out, Flores! Shot, and Sammi Hebing with a big save! Pushes that just wide of the post, but an early sign of intent from Ohlone College. They earn, I believe, as well, perhaps their first corner kick of the game. I didn't see the signal. Yeah, indeed, it looks like a corner kick to come here. That was Ohlone's 6th shot of the game, 3rd on goal to the Vikings' 7 shots and 5 on goal. 5-2 the foul count in DVC's quote-unquote favor. The first corner kick today for the Renegades coming from the left corner flag. It will be Urena to take it. Banuelos near her, but she's going direct into the 18 with the in-swinger. And it's going to be popped up in the air by Yasmin Jaime and punched clear by Dom Callaway. Haley Segura in hot pursuit, trying to get to that just before it goes out the far sideline, but isn't quite able to reach it. On a normal-sized field, that maybe stays in. But as we said, we're a bit narrow here today. The yellow line, I counted roughly 3 to 4 yards clear of the football lines, and a typical football field 53 yards across. So Jasmine Torres to take the throw-in. She is in the right back position. Just over the head of Rojas. Knocked away by DVC. That's Lozano over there on the left side. They earn a throw-in and look to try to earn another, but it's off of their number 14. Garvey instead of the Vikings to 14. Cunningham throw-in to DVC. So here comes that throw, immediately reflected and popped up in the air by Flores trying to get back onto it. The flag is up for what appears to be maybe a handball here. I'm not sure exactly what the call is for. Coach Larry Heslin, you could hear saying the arm was up, not a natural position. I think he actually wants a penalty kick because you can't really be too far inside that far sideline and not have it be inside the penalty area. Nothing given here. It appears that they're going to get a throw in and that the signal is ball to hand. So Coach Heslin frustrated. We can hear him from all the way up here lamenting that call. The throw in is going to take one big hop over Dom Calloway and straight to Sammi Hebing. So we are in minute number 4 here, 49 of the game in its entirety as Hebing drop kicks this ball towards the center circle, popped up in the air by Banuelos. The Vikings 5-0-1 last season when they managed to get to halftime with a lead. The only time that they did not finish off a game like that, I'm actually struggling to remember off the top of my head right now. We'll figure that one out. Kappa trying to get on the overlap as Hannah Masleski got the ball. She was in place for it, but Urena not quite able to dance over that ball and hold it in play. She was going more or less at full speed, tripped over the ball. Weinstein trying for the quick restart to Hannah Harris. She's got Kappa working near her, but she'll elect to go back for Weinstein. Pops this down the right side. That takes one big hop. Stays for Kappa. She hits it with her head, though, and can't keep it in play. Throw in to come for Ohlone. As we were saying, 5-0-1 when DVC managed... it was against San Joaquin Delta. And they did concede that equalizer very, very soon after. But they did not lose a single game when they got into halftime with a lead last season. And they were 7-0-2 when they scored the first goal in any half last year. Hannah Masleski on the ball, slides this into the top of the 18 for Segir, tries to touch it through 2 defenders, can't. Here comes the arrival of Daisy Lozano. She fires, but it's into the back of a Ohlone defender. Sprayed out wide now by Dargan for Segir, for Lozano rather. Her cross for Segir, headed away by Ohlone and given away immediately now again to Dej Dargan. Dargan skips around another defender, working her way to the left side corner flag, uses her body to protect the ball, slides in a cross, knocked away at the byline. Segir trying to get back onto it. Lozano holds the clearance in. Here comes her cross, popping free near Hannah, trying to get into position for a shot. Can't, comes free, and Yazzy's going to hit that into orbit. It's a field goal. It was certainly on target on one axis, but it was a good 30 feet above the goal. But a couple of shots right there. We certainly saw one into the back of a Ohlone defender from Daisy Lozano, and finally Yazzie trying that one out. 9 shots for DVC. The ball out the far sideline, so after an early sign of intent from Ohlone College, DVC flooding forward. In search of a second goal to try to make this advantage a little more concrete. Here's Hannah Harris popping a ball. She manages to get free. Big hop near Castano. Kappa challenging for it. The ball works free to Yazzie. Touches it around a defender. Still on it inside the box. Kappa trying to work it onto her left. Segir takes a swing. Nothing doing. Here comes a shot from Hannah Harris. Whistling just wide of the right side. Top of the 18-yard box. Still getting used to Hannah being number 10. Took me a second to remember who that was. But a left-footed rocket. Whistling just to the right. As we said, the Vikings have outplayed their opposition in pretty much every game so far, but have yet to be rewarded for it with a victory. Here comes Hannah Harris trying to touch it with the toe of her boot into space for Haley Segir. A little bit too strong. Villalvaso comes out to claim it. And so we can hear even from up here the exhortation from Coach Cailin Mullins. Get that ball to Haley a little bit earlier. You won't have to play it quite as strong if you play it into her path a little bit before that. DVC in control at the far sideline. Masleski leaves it there for Dargan. Back to Cunningham. Cailin sprays us over to the right side now for Dre. Settles right at the midfield stripe. Tries to touch it by Banuelos, who put her arm out as Weinstein tried to go by and shoved her to ground. That will be the third foul whistled against Ohlone, first of this half. At any rate, the free kick by Calloway is settled for a moment by Masleski, now cleared by the Ohlone defense, but nobody moving over in that quadrant of the field except for Dej Dargan. She settles, gives it to Hannah Masleski. Looked like Dej wanted the refeed immediately. We've heard about her enjoyment getting up in attack, and certainly you have more free license to do that when you're playing in the left back position as opposed to center back. Here's the ball for Kappa. Great idea to cut her run centrally as she received that ball. Unfortunately, Ohlone do manage to adjust, and now they're trying to counterattack through a 1-2 played between Garvey and, Flores. Yes, Flores and Garvey, but Garvey not quite able to calibrate the refeed. Hannah Harris on it after the ball skips by Kappa. What a great ball down the right side for Kappa. She tries to play this centrally, doesn't quite get enough speed on it, and it's going to be claimed by the Ohlone defense. But here's Hannah Harris like a whirling dervish getting back onto it. Tries to feed Kappa down the right side. Crossed in towards the penalty spot. Nothing doing. Comes right back to Kappa after the clearance, and she skies it for Viking shot number 11. And so that'll give us a chance for the first substitution of the new half. And in fact, Ohlone is going to operate 2 of them. It's the number 16. That is Brianna Montoya entering up in the... looks like she's going to actually station herself in the midfield rather than the attack. Additionally, we see... Actually, 2 other players have come on. Alexandra Jacobs back in, and she goes to right back. Jasmine Torres flips over to the left side. And there was one more that I did not quite spot. So we'll see exactly... Actually, maybe that's just the player coming off from Montoya there. At any rate, DVC back in control. Weinstein plays it off the foot of an Ohlone player. It's going to be a throw-in for the Vikings from the midfield, near sideline. Popped up in the air here by an Ohlone defender. Kappa brings it back towards Hannah. Reaches up with the boot and pokes the ball forward looking for Haley Segir. Ball pops up near her and Sydney Flanagan, and both of them searching for it. Segir works it back off of Flanagan. Touched forward looking for Haley. Comes free now to Isabel Castaño, and a late hit there. It's going to be Yasmin Jaime sanctioned for coming together with the Ohlone number 9. Referee looked to play advantage for just a moment before calling DVC's 6th foul of the day. So a real quick look at the benches available. We've seen a number of these players already. As we said, Costello available for Ohlone, but they still have Villalbazo in there. It's the first time this season they've gone into the second half with the same goalkeeper. Look out here as they try to feed Castaño on the left side. She is well offside, however, as signaled by Mr. Novello. And that'll bring play back for a DVC free kick and a chance to substitute Julia Curran and Carla Ramos, the pair that created the Vikings' go-ahead goal right at the end of half number 1. So we've certainly already seen a number of these players. Beidelman and Tiffany Harrison have both played. Aliyah Yassin, a freshman defender out of Independence, San Jose, also available on the bench for Mr. Heslin. We've seen all of the midfielders, with the exception of Ashna Upadhyay, as Segir tries to settle the ball here in the midfield. Nearly did it with a hand. Oh, flying by for a moment is the Ohlone defender as Hannah Harris gets control. She tries to feed a teammate, and it's touched away from her. Reina back to Jacobs, plays the ball forward in the direction of Flores, challenged by Cunningham, the ball out for an Ohlone throw. Up front, we've seen a little bit of everybody. Villanueva played a bit, as did Shelby Richmond and Dina Ramos, and Brianna Montoya in there right now. So just about everybody at Mr. Heslin's disposition. We've seen a little bit of nearly everyone. As for DVC, pretty robust bench as well, as Ohlone earn a throw-in on the far sideline. As we see here, they're going to bring Ramos and Curran back in. On top of that, they have Katie McLaughlin, who we saw get some playing time for the Vikings in the Las Positas draw a couple of days ago. Hannah Lewis, Carly Andrade, and Kristen Cunningham also available in the defense. We haven't seen a substitution back there just yet. Another sub, Shelby Richmond, entering for Ohlone, by the way. And she appears to have come in for the 14, Haley Garvey. Also available on the bench in the midfield, Amanda Gomez, and along with Ramos, Rodriguez, and Silva, and Hafner, all of whom we've seen. Hannah Kidson we've seen a little bit of. Ashley Scannell as well. On a day like today, you make use of every bit of depth you've got because players are tiring out real quick. Here's a ball over the top. Speaking of tiring out, untired is Sammi Hebing, who rushes out to grab a ball at the feet of the number 19 the number 10, Melissa Urena. So you can see Urena starting to cheat a little forward. You wonder if perhaps that sort of action is part of how she got those 10 goals, because she certainly had the assist on one of the Ohlone tallies last year in Pleasant Hill, but was, besides that, really never a threat to score from the sort of position she plays. It looks like she's cheating forward now, and she does try to play a ball into space on the right flank for one of her teammates. The overlap from Jacobs coming there, Alexandra Jacobs, but the clearance headed neatly by Curran in the direction of Ramos at the center. She tries to put this through a defender for Haley Segir. Can't quite thread the needle, but Seguir putting pressure on, and she's going to take it from Castano. She works her way to the right side, plays it off Castano, stays on the ball, still on the with the ball on her left, tries to thread this through, but nobody running into the space on the left wing, and it's a bit too strong for Ramos to get there. And so the long boot from Villalvaso falling near the midfield stripe. Pushed forward by Dej Dargan, but nobody there really to receive it. Urena claims in the midfield. Working back under pressure from Hannah Mazleski and Yasmin Jaime. Finally comes to a stop. Shifty little dribbling there and tries to play a 1-2 with the number 16. That is Montoya. Nothing doing. Clearance by the DVC defense. And the attempt to counter clear by Ohlone briefly held in by Carla Ramos. Taken away now, and Andrea Weinstein punches a loose ball forward in the direction of Carla. Ohlone nearly settled, but it comes free to Haley Seguir. Seguir trying to get on the run. Backtracks Montoya. Gets onto it for a moment, but Seguir, strong, great positioning, able to stay on it. Here's the ball over to Weinstein on the right side. She threads this through centrally, looking for Carla. Maybe Yazzie. The clearance is settled by Hannah Mazleski. Mazleski still on it, steps through, tries to play it to the right side for Julia. Julia might have thought about pulling the trigger with the left boot. Nope, gives it to Haley, top of the 18. Haley on the left, fires, takes a deflection. Ramos turns and fires, and that's going to rather docilely end up in the hands of Villalvaso. But as we saw in the first half, it only takes once. Unfortunately, this season it has taken many opportunities to get that once for DVC. Outshot Tahoe by a 13-2 margin. Could not put the ball in the back of the net. Outshot Las Positas by a 12-5 margin. Only put the ball in the back of the net that one time. Today, 7 shots on goal. They do have their first half goal of the season, as Ohlone earn a throw in here on the near sideline. But looking to double that advantage and feel a little bit more secure in what could be win number 1 this season. Substitution time for the Vikes as we hit the middle quarter of an hour. And Gabby Silva enters for Yasmin Jaime. Additionally, Urena out and in Alex Mejia, the number 7. Castano ready on the throw-in from about 30 yards from goal. Left side of Ohloni's attack, thrown into the chest of the 16 Montoya and taken away immediately by Mazleski. Good ball out of the back by Silva, immediately looking for Curran. She's going to push this over the top. Can Seguir get there before the goalkeeper? Not Villalvaso's there, and she has to boot that one well clear, and that is a strong, strong right leg. Ball landing about the 30-yard line of the football field. DVC trying to hold a ball in play might not have been the right idea, given that Ohlone got onto it for a moment there, and they earn a throw-in at the far sideline. It'll give DVC a chance to track back. Josie Beidelman standing ready for a substitution. We'll see if the near-side assistant referee, Linda Thompson, is going to allow that just yet. Nope. Throw-in authored, and a bit loose on the return. Goes out of play for another, this time apparently for a DVC throw-in, well earned by Hannah Mazleski. Vikings looking to operate a sub as well. Megan Kappa soon to return in place. She left, I believe, for Julia Curran earlier, and so we will see where she winds up. So Thompson defers, and it's going to be a throw-in now for DVC. Gabby Silva able to knock it down, tries to play it through a defender. Pops free to Ohlone. They try to lay the ball back, stays in play. Nudged forward by Sydney Flanagan. Callaway can't get ahead to the bounding ball in the defense, but it is cleared up by Andrea Weinstein. Now popped up in the air here by Carla. Haley trying to settle. Looks like it hit her knee, though. She's able to pop the ball back up, and seems to be her preferred way of going about this. She tries to body up Mejia. Can't. Shelby Richmond on it for just a split second, but Dom Callaway punches the ball deep. Flanagan and Lozano in hot pursuit of that ball, and Flanagan is going to be constrained to put it out the side for a Viking throw, and that will give us time for the substitutions. So Beidelman entering for Ohlone. Additionally, apparently the number 20, Dina Ramos. And it will be Megan Kappa entering for DVC. So off for the Renegades. Appear to see one of the captains leaving the pitch. That is the number 9, Izzy Castano. Did not spot who the other one was. Might be taking the long walk around the pitch. Kappa, meanwhile, I believe has come in for perhaps Lozano. Yeah, she stations herself on the left side, and Daisy takes the long walk. Throw in is toward Kappa immediately. She tries to touch it through a defender for Yazzie. Nothing doing. Cleared again on the far sideline, and the Vikings will happily run the clock and try to hold possession and see if they can create that second goal. So we are also at this point nearing the moment perhaps for another water break, given that the temperature's still in the 90s here in Fremont. Has lightly cooled down from the near triple digits that we had at the start of the game, but probably still warm enough to take a little break in about 5 or 6 minutes. Ball in possession of Hannah Mazleski after the throw. Pressure coming from Montoya. She's able to deal with it, though. Gets it to Lozano, who centers it for Callaway, who now drops it off to Andrea Weinstein. She's trying to go vertical, looking for Haley Segir, working against Beidelman. Almost touched that through a defender for JC, overlapping on the right side. Segir working to make life difficult for Dina Ramos as she tries to bring it up the left and does a great job of that. Earns the Vikings yet another throw. And it will be Weinstein to bring this in. She gets the long run up and throws this one a good 20 yards up the right sideline. Punched away by the defense. Dre gets to that, tries to punch it forward, and that's going to go out again off of an Ohlone head for another Viking throw. Preparing to enter the game on that near sideline again is Haley Garvey. At present, it's Richmond and Flores up top for Ohlone College. Weinstein's throw in toward the chest of Gabby Silva. She's able to settle for a moment, but getting to her deflection first was Montoya. Not able to settle that herself, though, either. And so it's free now to DVC. Hannah Mazleski working to Weinstein. Curran trying to run an overlap on the right side. Weinstein trying to feed her. Good work by Ramos to reach out and punch that away. Stops DVC from developing much of an attack there. Long throw. Headed away again by Ohlone. Another throw coming for Weinstein. Segir trying to settle. Got a touch to it. Curran on one touch brings a cross into the 18. Takes one big hop. Kappa with the head at the top of the 18 near the left corner. Able to get to it for a moment. She touches it away from Rojas but can't hold the ball in play. So it'll be a renegade throw over there. And that will give us time for the substitution. It's going to be Garvey re-entering the match and I believe coming in for Flores. And so at present, it appears to be Ramos, Montoya, Mejia, and perhaps Beidelman in the midfield of Larry Heslin's 4-2. Although, as I mentioned, they may well be playing a 5-woman defense, which seems like it's of less and less usefulness as the Vikings continue to control the ball. Here, look out! Oh, great dummy by Lozano. Brings the ball free for Dargan. She tries to cross, deflected away by Ohlone, and the clearance is going to stay in play this time. Knocked down at the far sideline. Long ball forward. Managed again by DVC. Cailin Cunningham, centrally for Weinstein. Save for that first shot within the first couple of minutes, Ohlone have really not created much of anything against DVC. They've had a hard time getting out of their own half of the field for most of the last 15 minutes. Kappa on it. She's going to spray it out wide to the right side in the direction of Curran. Knocked down by Ohlone, but almost in a way that let it settle for JC. Comes to Weinstein instead. JC at the right corner of the box. Great cross for the head of Carla Ramos, but she can't quite get on top of it, and her attempted header ends up out the back for a goal kick. 13th shot today for the Vikings. Substitution time again, and Coach Heslin mainly seeming to enjoy making my life really challenging. 3 subs now. Urena back in, Banuelos back in, and the 23, who we did see a little bit of earlier, Tiffany Harrison. Appears that she will be stationing herself in the midfield, so it's a full-scale retread of those 3 in the midfield. They join the number 20, Dina Ramos, back there. Otherwise appears to be the original starting defense, with the exception of the number 8, Beidelman, playing left back. Otherwise, it is Jacobs, Flanagan, and Blancas back there in front of Villalvaso. Vikings earn another throw in, and that will bring it to the water break. So the clock is going to stop here at the 22-minute, 22-second mark. The Vikings separated perhaps from victory number 1 on this season by exactly that margin. So we'll take a moment to look over the scores from not so much around the Big 8, but scores, a few of them around the Big 8 for today. as well as scores involving some of our future opponents. Cabrillo has been awfully busy. That's where the Vikings will be this coming Friday, heading down to Aptos for a 2 p.m. kickoff. Cabrillo played last Thursday at the same time DVC did. They were down in Monterey. Not so much of a road trip for them. 2-0 the result. They managed to get a season-opening win there, although who scores, you'll never know, because Cabrillo, as has been well documented on this podcast, does not seem to believe in updating any sort of statistical measure. So 2-0, the scorers, it's up to you, your imagination. No scorers for Cabrillo the following night when they came home to take on Lake Tahoe, a 0 draw there. And they are in action again today, having kicked off about a half hour before us in a match against Cañada College. That's a team that has already taken care of Sac City and ARC from the Big Eight. So perhaps Cabrillo's performance against them will give us some clue of what we can expect next time around. A win over Monterey, not a big deal. Very much the same as the Ohlone 6-0 win over Shasta told us very little about this team. A matchup with Cañada will at least let us compare them to American River and to Sacramento City. As for other games going on today within the Big Eight, Delta College played at 1 p.m. against Mendocino on the road up in Ukiah. Still don't have a result yet posted for that. We were hoping we might. Similarly, 3 p.m. kickoff, American River College should be just about done. Their game at West Valley College now. And kicking off just before us, Modesto at home hosting Chabot, who will be visiting the Vikings next Friday in the final non-conference matchup. So make sure you're out at Vikings Field. A pair of home games next week. On Tuesday, the Vikings will host state semifinalist Fresno, and then they'll take on Chabot to finish off their non-conference slate on Friday. Both of those games, one of those games kicking off at 4 p.m., the Fresno match. I believe 3:30, the kickoff against Chabot. So we are back now from the water break. DVC working on the left sideline, and a substitution in the meanwhile for the Vikings. Amanda Gomez making her first appearance in green and white, the number 5, in cutting a rather imposing figure in the center of the midfield. We still see Kappa and Curran out there, along with Ramos and Seguir. Hard to really say exactly where people are playing. Ramos might well be the forward and Curran the right side midfielder at the moment. As the ball is played through in the direction of Kappa, taken away by Jacobs in the right side of the defense, and she tries to play the ball out wide the right side now for a run, and Cailin Cunningham doing well to manage the arrival of the number 16, Montoya. It looked like Cunningham bracketed her and fouled her, nothing given, and as Montoya tries to take off and receive another ball, she's judged to be offside. A touch suspect over there. It was a bit of a tussle between those two players. Perhaps could have gone either way, and Mr. Novello over on the far sideline allowed to just let play continue. Either way, a free kick for the offside flag. The Vikings will take that from about 25 yards from their own goal. Now, during my drive up here, as we are approaching 20 minutes to go, I heard a number of songs that made me think that my radio was trying to tell me something about today's game. So far, a good chunk of it has come true. Hoping for the rest of it. I'll share a little bit of that with you right now. I noticed something was weird when I left as the Renegades have earned a throw in over at the far sideline. I noticed something was up when the very first song that played as I left DVC was Renegades by Ex-Ambassadors. I thought to myself, well, that's just a little too good. And so immediately thereafter, The World I Know by Collective Soul. Clearly representation of DVC. The title, not so much the subject matter. That'd be a pretty dark thing for me to say. We'll get to some of the others that might have been reflected in that first goal as DVC cut off an attempted attack. It is Gabby Silva cutting the ball off, although it takes a really crazy spinning hop on her and winds up back over her head and back in possession of Ohlone on the left side of the attack. Dina Ramos, centrally for Melissa Urena, tries to get it through Silva, can't. Curran gets the ball, tries to push this forward now for Haley Seguir. Reflected by Beidelman for a moment, settled nicely by Mazleski, a lot of calm there, and crushed forward by Curran towards Carla Ramos. Goes just over her head and is managed by Jacobs. Ramos putting on pressure, as is... Oh, look at the arrival here of Kappa, and the ball comes free to Ramos. She plays it down the left wing looking for Kappa, but it's too strong, and Villalvaso will come out to claim. So the next group of songs that came on more or less in a row. First Time by Vance Joy. Give Me Something Good by Ryan Adams. Song for Someone by U2. Someone New by Hosier. To me, all that sounds like a first-time game winner scored by somebody not on the score sheet just yet, coupled with a crazy goal celebration by me, the Song for Someone. I'm always calling out a name there. So thus far, everything going to plan. I'll go ahead and leave the final song in that grouping for hopefully 19 minutes and 10 seconds from now, hoping that it comes true. Ball in possession for the moment of Ohlone, but Montoya unable to control it over at the far sideline under pressure from Cailin Cunningham, and she earns the Vikings a throw-in over there as DVC tries to hold possession and find perhaps a goal to put this one away for good. Kappa trying to defend the throw-in, knocks it back out again. Another throw-in for Ohlone on the right side of their midfield third. Thrown in toward the three-quarter zone, knocked down by Shelby Richmond. Unable to settle quickly, and so she's forced to play it back to Isabel Blancas, one of the Ohlone captains. Popped up in the air by the head of Silva. Callaway able to get it a little further back, and Carla Ramos, great bit of work to manage that ball. And now Amanda Gomez plays it forward. Can Seguir beat the goalkeeper and the defender to it? She can. The ball's free. Ramos tries to take the shot from about 45 yards away, given that Villalvaso was well out of her box. Blocked by the Ohlone defense, and they're going to try again here, and thankfully Richmond is called offside as she is fed down the left flank. It was close, but it was decisive. And Mr. Novello perfectly positioned to make that call. So the one bit of controversy here in this game potentially is the ball-to-hand call against Dej Dargan. Very lucky not to have given up a PK at that moment. Oddly enough, after last season, several very soft PKs given against the Vikings, a couple of free kicks given right at the edge of the 18-yard box, perhaps unjustly. This year, that might be the second time the Vikings have gotten away with one. It's a ball down the right flank by Gabby Silva, trying to feed the DVC attack. Nudged away by Ohlone. It does appear to be the number 23, Tiffany... excuse me, got to find my roster here. Tiffany Harrison getting onto that for a moment. She tried to play it forward, intercepted for a moment by Dargan, but it pings right back off of her for an Ohlone throw, and it will be substitution time again. Ana Flores about to enter, as well as Andrea Weinstein. It appears Weinstein is going to enter in place of JC, and so that's going to move Silva back out of the defense. So apparently Gomez came in place of Dre. DVC able to deflect a ball out on the far sideline and recover it inside their own half. Work forward now for Carla Ramos. Back for Hannah Masleski. Looking for high percentage passes right now. Dargan. Nice triangle there with Ramos and Masleski. It's now Carla trying to get vertical, looking for Haley Seguir. Punched away by the defense, Isabel Blancas. Battling forward in the center are Ramos and Urena. Urena has gotten to it. She's pointing out a run for Flores to get onto, and instead is going to spray it down wide the left side here, looking for Dina Ramos. She gets a touch to try and play it down the flank for herself to run onto, but it carries over the line. Throw incoming just over the outstretched head of Gabby Silva, punched away by Banuelos, and out for another DVC throw at the midfield stripe as we approach the final quarter of an hour. Weinstein about ready to put this in from the midfield stripe. Takes a hop over the head of Haley Seguir. Clearance knocked away by Dom Callaway, and a high boot there from Ana Flores. That was a bit of a dangerous play there, and Dom seems to be all right afterwards. Played forward by Ohlone after it was briefly settled on the other side. Callaway controls, drops it back to Sammi. She'll spray it over here to the right, the left, for Cunningham. Cunningham has gotten her pocket picked, and look out now. It's Ohlone with a chance to maybe equalize. It's Richmond playing it off of Dom Callaway, and Dom sliding in to punch the ball into touch. Great recovery from Callaway. Scary moments there as Shelby Richmond had managed to get through and take the ball away from Cailin Cunningham. But that is what Dom has been doing for 1 season plus now here in green and white, is clean up messes like that. Substitution for Ohlone. It is Castaño re-entering for Dina Ramos. We also see apparently the 14 Haley Garvey perhaps ready to come back in. She may have spent a little time on the training table earlier. Seems about ready for her re-entry. Melissa Urena trying to control down by the far sideline against Dargan and Kappa. Ball played off of Dargan, and it will be a Renegade throw-in. 14 minutes, 25 seconds left in this one. Long run up, the Renegade throw in towards the top of the 6. Popped up in the air by the head of Dom Calloway, falling in the direction of Carla Ramos. Settled by Flores. She fires, and that's going to loop mercifully into the chest of Sammi Hebing. 4th shot on goal today for Ohlone, 7th shot period. They have yet to break the dam. DVC has. Ball settled in the midfield off of Hebing's drop kick by Carla Ramos. Jumps up over the foot of Amanda Gomez on this artificial turf. Briefly taken by Ohlone, but Richmond trying to play in Ana Flores down the right wing. Hits it way too hard. Sammi Hebing takes it, and she will let some time tick off as Flores finally does venture over. Sammi, the drop kick. Falling again near midfield. Popped up again by Carla Ramos. Takes 2 touches to get it settled. This time elects to punch it centrally for Haley Seguir. Nothing doing. Good work by Beidelman to take that ball away, but look out here. It's gotten a bit far away from the Ohlone players, and Carla Ramos is back onto it. Drop back for Dej. Centrally for Carla. So incredibly calm for a freshman. Lot of composure out there. She drops it back to a similarly composed Hannah Masleski, who's going to spray this to the right side for Weinstein. Brings it forward for Seguir. Her first touch carries it out near the sideline. She fakes out a defender. Haley at the top of the 18, running laterally, puts it on her left, takes a deflection, and just before Silva arrives, Villalvaso is able to pounce on that ball. Can't quite give a shot on that. I think that was Haley's intention, but it was snuffed out pretty much as soon as it came off of her boot. Richmond able to handle the Villalvaso drop kick, and her ball forward for Flores is intercepted by Dom Calloway, who continues to do hard work in the back. It does look like she's going to have it taken away, though, here by Melissa Llorena. Llorena trying to play it forward, finds Cunningham out of position. Look out here! Richmond has dribbled too far with it, and it goes out the back line before she can hit it toward an empty goal. 12 minutes to go, and exhale. She had dribbled around Sammi Hebing, but the last touch took it too long. And that time with Calloway caught out by Melissa Llorena. The usual garbage duty at the back fell to Cailin Cunningham. She got dusted back there. Richmond dribbled straight between she and Hebing. But by the grace of a heavy touch go we. Still 1-0 to the good are the Vikings. Hebing's goal kick headed forward in the direction of Ana Flores. Out comes Hebing again, and she absorbs that right at the feet of both Flores and Cailin Cunningham. Ohlone starting to demonstrate some intent. Giving DVC a couple of scares. The ball controlled by Yasmin Jaime, recently back into the game. She tries to control against Yasmin Torres. Looked like she might have absorbed a bit of a foul, reached her arms out, but nothing given here. Torres to the left side for Flores, tries to touch it through the 19 Weinstein, no such luck, but Ohlone have a lot of players in that particular quadrant. Bañuelos comes away with it. Centrally now for Isabel Blancas, who's now playing way further forward. She's having a hard time just settling that ball, and she has to dance over it. And now DVC with a 3-on-2. Here comes the ball forward looking for JC. Can she get a second? No, she's offside by a step. Real opportunity there. Kappa, Kidson, and JC, but Curran just barely could not hold her run. Approaching the 10-minute mark. I'll say this, the last song I have to tell you about is going to it's going to match one way or another here. And I will say, just a little bit concerned about the exciting finishes that DVC Ohlone games have had recently. Certainly makes you concerned for where this one might be headed. The ball in possession of the Renegades. It's the number 23, Tiffany Harrison, on the right sideline, manages to play it off of Dargan, and it's going to be an Ohlone throw. 9 minutes, 53 seconds to go. And apparently, we're going to even up the yellow card count now on the coaches. Mr. Mays comes over and gives one to Larry Heslin. Tired of hearing it from the Renegade bench. As we said, officiating certainly a story last time these two teams met up. The center official had recently come from an eye appointment and had her pupils dilated. Certainly called some things into question. There were some very strange foul calls. There was a missed corner kick late that really burned up the Vikings and certainly led to the assumption when the goal was given on a ball off the crossbar that bounced more or less straight down that maybe that was also in error. It turned out not to be. Ball forward, Alicia Flores off the throw-in, tries to head it from the top of the 18 into the mixer, but no problem there for Sammi Hebing. And we continue to count down, 9 minutes left. Hebing's drop kick, headed forward by Yasmin Jaime. Hannah Kidson holding it in front of Isabel Blancas. Dumping off for Kappa. She's going to look for the switch over to the right side. Almost got it through Castaño for Curran. Good idea by Kappa. Better defense by Castaño. Ball controlled here for a moment by DVC, but Jaime's pass into the middle for Mazleski's a little loose. Urena gets onto it. Jasmine Torres. Centrally touched away by Mazleski. Urena able to get back onto the ball here. Curran gets a foot to it, trying to take it away from Urena. And that is an obvious tug on the jersey, and that ought to be a yellow card on Melissa Urena. She had a handful of Julia Curran's jersey. That is a tactical foul, and there are rules about that. Nothing given. It is, however, a foul. The fourth one whistled on Ohlone. 6-4 the foul count at the moment. 13-7 shots in favor of DVC. 7-4 shots on goal in favor of DVC. 1-1. The corner's even. 1-0. DVC up on the scoreboard. Here comes the free kick. Hits off the back of Curran, and it's going to come free to Jasmine Torres. Her clearance, though, is only as far as Dej Dargan, about 45 yards from goal. She brings the ball back into Kidson with her back to goal. Squares it now for Yazzie. Tries to touch this with a little chip towards one of her teammates. Good work by Curran to defend that ball, though, against Urena, and tries to play Silva into the channel. Lucky Ohlone as Jasmine Torres plays it off Gabby Silva for a renegade throw-in. 7 minutes, 20 seconds left, and a whole bunch of substitutions to come. Hannah Harris about to come back in for the Vikings. She will enter for one of the Vikings' other Hannahs, Kidson. As for Ohlone, Richmond, Ramos, and Beidelman all back into the match, and Beidelman seeming to station herself way up front. Listed as a defender on my roster. She's played most of the game back in that role, but she is up at the top of what appears to be a 4-3-3 for the final 6 minutes, 51 seconds of this game. Foul whistled against Ohlone as I believe it's Ana Flores goes tumbling to ground. So perhaps I've misspoken. Maybe Beidelman and Ramos up top. No, there goes Richmond again, stationing herself on the left side. Midfield is Castaño, Urena, as Weinstein punches the ball away. Flores, and I'm not entirely sure who that is at the far sideline, but at the moment what matters is that DVC is in possession in the center circle. Julia Curran, dribbling, going into Turbo, touching it forward for Hannah. Ooh, boy, if she had touched that forward for Kappa, she was off to the races, but couldn't quite get it out of her own feet. Ohlone back in control. They are operating a 3-4-3 right now, trying to get numbers forward in search of an equalizer. But Yasmin Jaime controlling the ball in the midfield. Curran working on Urena. Castaño joining in now. Jaime protects it. The throw given to DVC. 6 minutes left. Weinstein, the run-up, and here comes the long throw over the top, trying to feed Hannah Harris. Popped up in the air by Torres. Curran wants it. Not quite able to get it there at the top of the 18. Weinstein will feed it back in towards the three-quarter zone after it gets through Urena. Headed away by Ohlone. Taken again for a moment by Shelly Richmond, but DVC's 19 again, first to the ball. Here comes Yasmin Jaime. Takes it from under the feet of Gabby Silva. She let her have it. Curran on the ball, trying to feed Hannah Harris down the right side, but it's going to drift too long, and Villalvaso will come back out. 5:18 to go. Crystal, long drive. Strong header from Cailin Cunningham. And Curran trying to take that ball away. Hard work in the front of the attack, trying to keep the ball down where it can't do DVC any harm. The long ball, though, is popped up in the air by Dom Calloway. Trying to settle over here at the near sideline is Dina Ramos. She goes into a slide, but cannot get around it to keep it in play. Throw in to come for the Vikings from the defensive third. Here that comes, the yellow-booted Dre Weinstein throwing it towards Jaime. Her header takes one touch. Flores not able to get onto it. Curran needs to get it to Kappa. She's wide open down the left wing. Can Silva get it to her? No. Urena arrives just a split second earlier. Silva back on the ball, sprays it down the right wing, but nobody there waiting to run onto it. So the Vikings here in the center need to get their head up. Kappa has had acres of room to work with. And if she were fed, she might be off to the races. Dej Dargan controlling in the defense. Kappa trying to get back onto it, and judged to have absorbed a foul. Free kick to DVC, 4 minutes to go. This free kick from about 5 yards behind midfield, just to the far sideline side of the center circle. And Dom Calloway, Dej Dargan in no hurry to take it. She does now. One hop towards JC out at the left side, controlled instead, though, by Sydney Flanagan. Her ball forward pops up on Beidelman. Dargan, her opposing number 8, able to get to that ball. Lays it back for Cailin Cunningham, looking to get it off of her boot. Kappa, good first touch to get it to Curran. Kappa looking for the overlap now with Hannah Harris working. There are 2 players to feed. Hannah, though, dribbling into the center. Hannah Harris off of a defender. Again, the Vikings not taking advantage of the player on the overlap with the space. Up steps Jaime. Did she touch it off of a Ohlone player? She did indeed. Throw in to come for the Vikings. 3 minutes. The clock about to stop as DVC try to conduct this one on into the station. Dre Weinstein, long throw, finds Yazzie. Can she get to it before it hits the byline? She does! Crosses it to the near post, but Villalbazo able to get to it. We might even put that down as the 8th shot on goal today. 14th shot taken by the Vikings as Villalbazo punches this one deep. Popped up by Hannah Masleski. Recovered by Blancas. Just under the foot of Masleski. Looked like the Vikings might be off to the races again. Kappa looked to have absorbed a foul and maybe a second one against Urena. Looks like the referee's going to play advantage. Silva trying to serve Curran down the left side. Nothing doing. Ball pops up funny on Flanagan, but she manages it under the pressure of Hannah Harris. Brings it near sideline now to Torres. One touch from Richmond, and it's too strong for Castaño to get onto it. It will be a Viking throw-in. And a substitution for DVC, Kappa to come out. Carla Ramos, the assist woman on today's only goal so far, re-entering the match. So it is she and Silva at the flanks, Yazzie and Masleski in the middle, Curran and Harris up top. And the ball is in possession of JC. She's got Ramos trying to get onto it here. Curran knocked to ground. Clearance bangs right off of an Ohlone player. No foul given on the nudge to Curran. Played away, and it's going to be a Viking throw from right near the corner flag. We are under 2 minutes. The clock has stopped. We are waiting for Mr. May's whistle to bring today's game to a close. Thus far, a goal in first half stoppage time by Julia Curran stands up as the game winner. Here comes the throw-in from the near sideline. The Vikings in no hurry. Silva, long throw towards the penalty spot. Ball comes free. Yazzie doesn't get good contact to it from the penalty dot, but the clearance is out for another Viking throw. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Silva's going to have to pursue that back on the track. Again, until somebody tells her to hurry up, I have doubts about whether she will. Here comes another long throw into the 18-yard box. Hannah Harris trying to get onto it. Ball pings to Julia Curran, but way too hot. Actually hit her in the side. And Ohlone back in control here. Dina Ramos plays a nice dummy to get by Cailin Cunningham. And the DVC defense is a bit exposed right now, but Dargan and Calloway are tracking back to cut off Josie Beidelman. Dargan, did she manage to touch it off of the Ohlone number 8? No. Ohlone throw from the right side. Must be in the final minute right now. Urgency needs to be shown here for Ohlone if they're going to try and get this, because that ball is all the way off the track right now. The Vikings packing the box. Only Curran outside the 18 along with Hannah Harris. Everybody else inside there. The long throw coming in towards the penalty area. Takes a hop, and it hit Dom Calloway in the hand. And it will be a penalty kick for Ohlone College. Sammy, first question here. Do you generally see those handballs when they're that close and kind of go, oh, no?
Sometimes you do catch them. Given the the amount of people in the box, probably didn't totally hit, but I mean, your eyes are constantly tracking where that ball is. So, yeah, you usually catch them, and you kind of sit there and you're just like, oh, maybe the ref didn't see.
Now,
how had you ever had the experience of like a last-minute penalty kick being called against your team to preserve a win?
I'm sure I have. Penalty kicks, I mean, they just happen, whether they are, for the game, whether they're shootouts. It's just kind of a part of a thing as a goalkeeper. Everybody makes this very big deal about them, and they are a big deal. But as a goalkeeper, it's something that you have to almost mentally just take as any other shot that you get, because if you sit there and hype up your nerves, it's not necessarily going to help you in the moment. Penalty kicks for me are more mental than anything else. So if you have a player that comes up and you can see when they walk up whether they have the confidence or not, and they either know exactly where they're placing this ball because it's routine to them and they're going to place it in the same place every time, or they walk up kind of not really having a game plan and just kicking and swinging and hoping it goes in. And those are the ones you really try to get in their head and psych out. So me coming off of my line, one is I'm not allowed to step off my line during a penalty kick. So me starting off of my line is just making that goal look smaller. It's a little bit of an intimidation factor, swinging my arms. It's just all a mental game trying to get into their head.
An inadvertent handball. And for the game, it is going to be Melissa Urena versus Sammi Hebing. An unbelievable bit of bad luck, but we could see it up here. No controversy. Urena standing about 2 yards inside the penalty area.
Of course, I was telling you, I think one of my favorite things about this is the resurrection of the commentator that's about to happen, because you can hear that I sound absolutely despondent right about now.
As I'm sure everyone on the bench did too.
More or less a center run-up. Mr. Mays makes his indications. Urena versus Hebing. 90th minute. Here's the whistle. Urena. Sammi! The stop! And the Vikings may get this one anyway. Sammi Hebing diving to her left side, absorbs that. It was not a very strong penalty kick, it must be said. But Hebing is secure.
Usually if they are leaning towards their left side, and I can see where they're looking, if they're looking bottom left corner, I'm going to probably cheat and dive about a millisecond early, because otherwise I'm not going to beat the ball. Now, it doesn't look like there was like a rocket power on this. It did have some power on it, but yeah, I think that I don't know. I guess you kind of expect them to come in low. You just react. It's kind of an instinctual thing.
Long ball, takes a big hop over the top. Hannah Harris splits 2 defenders, runs onto it at the top of the 18, has to track back for it, has room, and can't get the shot on target with Villalbazo crashing in on her. The Vikings let off the hook. It did take a deflection. It was a save from Villalbazo. It is DVC's 9th shot on goal today. Pardoned for a handball in the box by Urena's penalty kick, saved by Sammi Hebing. Hannah to take the corner kick. Will she take it short here? Looks like she will serve this in. She drives it into the gut of her teammate. I don't know what exactly the intention was there. They pat each other and say everything's okay. Ball back in possession for the moment of Ohlone, but not able to hold the ball in. Throw in now given to Ohlone College. Looked like it deflected off of Urena. It's ball forward, headed down by Weinstein. DVC trying to hold on to it. Urena back on it again, popping loose in the midfield. Cleared away. We await the final whistle from Mr. Mays. 90th plus here at Tak Fudena Stadium. 1-0. The Vikings trying to finish it off. Substitution time here. Kappa will come in for Silva. Stations herself on the right. Referee checks his watch. Here comes the throw, headed forward by Hannah Harris toward the right flank. Pops up in the air. Castaño tries to clear it away. Jaime gets onto it. Nice little sombrero to get around a player. Now pops it up in the direction of Hannah Harris. Header in the direction of goal. Looks like it's going to take a hop. Villalbazo gets there just ahead of the arrival of DVC's fleet number 7. Ball punted deep, right to the chest of Hannah Mazleski. Still waiting to see the whistle in the mouth of Mr. Mays. Looks like a foul against Yazzie. The referee plays advantage, though, as she runs through it. Referee having to dance just over the ball as Hannah Masleski dribbled it through. Plays it wide to the right side for Weinstein. Can't quite keep the ball in. Ref checks his watch again. Throw into Ohlone. Tick-tock again. It's been a long chunk of stoppage time here. Ball in possession of Ohlone. And it's Ana Flores. Long ball looking for Dina Ramos. Oh my goodness, Sammi Hebing on the clearance has had that ball take an unbelievable bounce. And Cailin Cunningham will have to clear it. Hebing clears that ball, I think, off the back of Callaway. It pinged in the direction of goal, but had so much English on it that it bounced back the other way. The last song I heard before I got out of my car today was Nearly Forgot My Broken Heart by Chris Cornell. And this game has taken a couple of opportunities to nearly make that a very ironic title. We're hoping it will be a celebratory one. Whistle in his mouth, and that is a DVC victory today by a 1-0 score. Julia Curran scoring in stoppage time of the first half. Sammi Hebing stopping a penalty kick in stoppage time of the second. We'll head back to the studio for highlights, analysis, and we'll see if we can get those other scores from around the Big Eight. But the big result today, DVC in the win column for the first time. Vikings 1, Renegades 0. Thanks for tuning in to Vikings Soccer Rewind, everybody. We'll be back next Friday with our first look at that celebrated 2016 DVC squad and the first of several matchups we'll be showing from the Vikings' rivalry with San Joaquin Delta College. I'll be joined by 2/3 of that team's all-freshman midfield as well, Chloe Lindemann and Megan Malera. Until then, this is Joe Hickey wishing you sweet, nostalgic dreams of green. See you next time.